Scammers should be called cockroaches, and I wish we could stomp them out just like we can those pesky bugs. But unfortunately, we cannot. So the best thing I can do is I can warn you about some scams that unfortunately tens of thousands of people are falling victim to. And this one's kind of old fashioned, but it is still working. And the Better Business Bureau just released a warning to remind all of us about this. So this is called the $20 bill scam. And what ends up happening is you're in the grocery store or you're at the ATM machine, you punch in your PIN code to pay with your credit card or with your debit card at the grocery store, at the ATM machine, and unknowingly to you, somebody's looking over your shoulder. So that's step one, but you're still okay because you have your credit card, you have your ATM card. But then as you leave in the parking lot, somebody comes up to you and they usually work in pairs, and it's usually the female partner that comes up to you, and they're targeting elderly women for the most part. And somebody comes up to you and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, I think you dropped this $20 bill." Now, some of us would say, "Yes, I probably did, thank you." And others of us would say, "No, I don't think it's my $20 bill, but thank you." And they're persistent, and their goal is to get you to open your wallet or to get you to open your purse, to put the $20 bill in. And then these are essentially very skilled pickpockets. And somehow they lift the card from you. So now they have the PIN, and now they have your credit card or your ATM card. And there's multiple cases of people having their bank accounts emptied. And they know, most Americans get paid in the middle of the month and at the end of the month or on a Friday. So they choose their dates when they think that our bank account balances are the highest. Now, unfortunately, as we get older, we become more likely to become a victim of something like this for a couple reasons, right? Our bank account is likely to have more money in it than somebody in their 20s just getting going and maybe saving for a house or something like that doesn't keep a lot of money in their checking account or their savings account. But as we get older, many of us will have more money in our savings account. So there's more money for the scammers to get. And as we get older, we generally let down our guard. Maybe we're not as mentally sharp as we were when we were younger. And so we become easier marks for these scammers, for these cockroaches. And I don't want to see that happen to you. So in general, what do we do? What does the Better Business Bureau recommend? What does the FBI recommend? Well, job number one is, to remain aware of our surroundings. And certainly if you're at an ATM, if you're out an outside ATM, be very, very careful. You don't want anybody near you. And generally, law enforcement recommends using an inside ATM machine, hopefully one that has guides up along the side so it's harder for somebody else to look over your shoulder. Also, put your hand as you're putting in your code, put your hand over that so that you can protect the PIN number that you're using. And then, if somebody says, "Hey, you lost money," don't bring out your wallet. Don't check, right? It's like when somebody comes to your front door, and many of us still fall victim to this. Somebody comes to our front door, they ring our doorbell. We feel the societal pressure to open the door and say, "How can I help you?" Right? But we don't know who that person is. I mean, if it's your neighbor, great. But if it's somebody you've never seen before, you don't have to open your door. Same thing with our phones, right? Our phones are a tool for our convenience, not for other people's convenience to reach us. So in general, the Better Business Bureau, AARP, the FBI, the police, generally, if you don't recognize the phone number, don't pick up your phone. Let it roll to voicemail because these scammers all rely on a couple common themes. And one of those themes is a sense of urgency. We have to act right away, right? We get a text saying that, we owe a toll for going over a bridge or for using a highway. And if we don't pay it, they're going to come out for our arrest, or we owe back taxes, and if we don't pay it, or we have an unpaid speeding ticket. And they try to create this sense of urgency. But you know what? The IRS is not going to text you. The IRS, their website says they're going to mail you, do a physical mailing first. And if you have any questions, go directly to the government website, irs.gov or whatever the case is, ssa.gov for the Social Security Administration, and reach out to a phone number that you know. If it's your credit card or your bank, look at your credit card or your bank statement and call the trusted number that you know. And if you suspect something fishy is going on, ask them if they can lock your account. I think somebody's trying to access my account. What can we do to protect it? And every bank's going to handle that differently. But call a trusted number or go into the branch directly and talk to somebody. Another thing is with our password managers or just our password management. Our lives are more and more online now. Now, the $20 scam, the $20 con, the $20 trick, it's a misnomer because people think, well, I'm only going to lose $20. What's the big deal, Azul? But it is a big deal because once they have access to your account, you can lose thousands of dollars. And if that PIN or your password that they've gotten from you, if you're reusing that at different places, they may have a profile built on you and they can check other places where they might be able to use that PIN, where they might be able to use that code. So best practices is be super careful when you're at an ATM machine, be super careful when you're in public and you're using your credit card. Be super careful at websites. People can set up fake websites and they can look official. They can look like government sites, but never click on a link in your email. Never click on a link to a text. Go to a link that you know to be true to protect yourself. And then use things like two-factor authentication, but be careful with two-factor authentication because there are cases where the cockroaches, the scammers, have somehow gotten a hold of our phone number and been able to hijack our phone number. And generally that happens because they have personally identifiable information on you and they can convince the cell phone provider like a Verizon, like an AT&T, companies like that, any cell phone provider. I'm not saying these companies don't have great security, but there's certain questions. And if the people can answer those questions, they can get access to your account and they can actually port your phone number over to them. And then when your bank sends a security code, it goes to the cockroaches, not to you. I want that code to go to you. I want that to be safe. So one thing to think about doing is to use an authentication tool as opposed to a text that gets sent to you. Another thing is look at your credit reports, and you can put a freeze on those credit reports because the cockroaches need very little information on you in order to take out credit under your name. But you can protect yourself by going to the agencies. They have to, by law, let you put a freeze on your credit where nobody can apply for credit under your Social Security number, under your name. And that credit freeze is one additional layer of protection. If you like videos like this, I know you're going to like my free weekly newsletter where you can get here or in the description below. And the YouTube algorithm says this is my next video of mine that you should watch next. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.